Hey everybody, we're doing one of these. um, I'm not good at starting videos like this. I didn't want to have to make something on this kind of caliber. You already saw the title, you know what this is about. I'm just talking about a few things I've never addressed before on this channel. It's something I'm partially just making for myself because at the end of the day, this is not my job. This is something that I do out of passion. If it could be my job one day, that would be great. But as of right now, I am still a senior in college and currently suffering through some classes that are keeping me very busy. But that is not the primary reason why I'm making this video. Like I said, this is kind of partially for myself because I feel like for the 10 to 20 people who actively watch this channel and are wondering what I've been up to, I like being able to explain things so that people at least know that I haven't dropped off the face of the earth. And the beginning of this year, I kind of did that. And I came back with 2 update videos, you might remember, that I did end up getting rid of because I didn't like how they felt for just this channel. It didn't feel right. And, I really like what I do. Being able to just kind of make whatever I want. It's a nice thing about YouTube. As long as you don't overstep any crazy boundaries, you can make whatever. That kind of comes down to everybody's personal ability though. And my personal ability is very limited in a lot of things. So that's kind of what this is about. Don't worry for any of you who are concerned or anything, like seeing this video like, uh-oh, what happened? No, nothing happened. I'm fine. The only reason I am fine, really, is because I have a lot of support, not just in my YouTube video making or whatever, but like from my family and my friends. I have good people behind me, not in danger or like, going anywhere. And another thing I should mention is none of the projects that you are expecting from me are canceled. I'm not the kind of person who gives up on stuff like that easily. I'm very stubborn, fortunately. So. Chibi Robo Retrospective, still on. All of my Danominator soundtracks uploads, like the Paper Mario medley, still on. None of that is going away. That said, I think it's time that I stop kidding myself on how many things I can do at once. Because I have a tendency to start things that I take forever to finish. Not that I don't finish them, I just don't get to finishing them soon enough. So, I don't really know how to lead into this. This is going to be about a few like health things regarding just like my personal life, and one of the reasons that it takes me so long to get anything done here. So, don't feel like you need to sit here and watch the whole thing. If you just want to put an earbud in and listen to it in the background, I am totally fine with that. Don't worry about it. There's not going to be anything on screen. This is basically a one recording for me to put up and share with you guys so you know what's going on. I'm not going to have anything fancy up here on the actual video, so just feel free to listen to it in the background if you need to. Okay, so last year I addressed some of the things that I personally struggle with as a creator and as a person in general. One of those things is criticism. Another one of those things is just like being timely, having proper time management. And there is unfortunately another thing that I've been dealing with basically since I was 7, and I am I'm in my mid-20s now. So if that tells you anything, I have a condition called vertigo. My specific condition is not necessarily called vertigo. I'll get into that in a second. But it's not like, when you hear that word, you might think of something like spinning or dizziness. That's what this is. It's kind of dizziness. My vertigo is something called MDDS. It's all but confirmed at this point. I've been to every doctor I can think of, and most of them had no idea what I had, even when I was a little kid. Basically, I had an issue when I was younger where I would I guess I would get back from like a car ride or something, and I would feel all floaty, and I would have to basically lay down. And I don't know why it was happening. I was, like I said, I was like 7 or 8. And I started going to multiple doctors to look at this stuff. Eye doctors, ear doctors. I was all over the place. Eventually, I went to a neurosensory place, and that is what they determined they think I might have had. Unfortunately, at the time, MDDS, which is also known as Mal-Data-Barkman syndrome, I'll get into that more later, is very rare in people my age and males. So unfortunately, when this was first thought about as a potential symptom for something I might have, the doctors kind of dismissed it because, oh, well, he probably doesn't have it, he's too young. And no, now that I've been dealing with this for as long as I have, it's all but confirmed. Pretty much definitely what I have. So Mal-Data-Barkman syndrome, I believe it's like a French translation, basically means post-movement vertigo, if you will. So it's a kind of dizziness that tends to crop up whenever I have been driving on a boat, on a plane, elevators, escalators, basically any movement that I'm not inducing on myself. And even then, like if I'm, say, running around for a long time, some people might get like exhausted or out of breath. For me, I get dizzy. And what that means is I feel very, very off, like on which way is up, if that makes any sense. So the thing about my dizziness / vertigo is that for whatever reason, it tends to emulate whatever I've been doing. So back last year, you heard about this in one of those recent update videos I got rid of. I lost my grandfather, unfortunately, and he lived pretty far from where I am, so we would always have to fly down every year to go see him. And hey, I liked going to see him. It was a nice thing we did every Christmas, basically. But every time we'd fly down, I'd basically be out for like at least 24 hours. Out as in I could not go anywhere or do anything because we would drive down to the airport, fly there, and then drive to his house. And basically all of that movement would cause me to be so dizzy, feeling like I'm still in a plane or a car, that I would basically be a potato. I couldn't do anything. So that is essentially what I've been dealing with for the past, oh gosh, it's like 15 years now. That's insane. And unfortunately, this kind of vertigo does not go away easily. I have had vertigo, like post-movement vertigo, for up to like a week after something big like this has happened. And it's a pain because almost every time I'd go on vacation, I'd need a couple days to recuperate. And then when I came back, that would be another car ride, another flight, and then another car ride, which means I'd be even worse because of all that extra travel. So this vertigo kind of stuff is very hard to explain if you've never had it. And unfortunately, there's a lot of different kinds. The type of spinning vertigo that you've heard about probably from people who have something wrong with your eardrums, I don't have that. It's all related to my eyes. I have what's called a nystagmus, which basically means my eyes do not center properly, or they're not properly stable, if that makes any sense. So they kind of tend to move around a lot if my nystagmus is high. And that is often because where I live, you can't just kind of walk to everything. I live in a fairly suburban to rural area, and especially when you're in a rural area, you got to drive a half hour to get anywhere. So what do I do? Basically, I just kind of got to cope. And there are a lot of things I can do to work on this to kind of not get rid of it. Unfortunately, this is not something that can just be surgically removed. Trust me, if it could be, I would have had that done a long time ago. What this means is I have to do eye exercises and keep myself active and get proper sleep and watch my stress. If I'm high stress or highly emotional or just super panicky and, I'm breathing like heavily, quickly, that kind of thing, I get dizzy. There was one thing that I've had when I get sick and I get stuffed up for whatever reason. I just get dizzier. I know I just said it's based around my eyes, but whenever I get sick, I tend to be dizzier because I'm stuffy. That's fun. And then there's another thing that makes this vertigo worse, and you're never gonna believe it. It's almost comedically hilarious. Using screens. Yeah. So my entire degree, everything that I have been interested in since I was basically, I want to say like 12 or 13, my entire future career, if you will, is hindered by this one thing that I have that very few people in my age range have ever had. It's really funny because I've had this since I was around 7, and I mean, there were things I could do about it before then, or I could just sleep it off. But now here I am adulting basically in my last year of college, preparing to move into my own space within the next, 2 to 3 years. And I got this thing that's hovering around my head right now. I have it right now, unfortunately. If I ever look like I am, like my head is tilting back and forth, that is because I'm having vertigo right now. I'm just kind of trying to cope with it. It's one of the reasons I got this chair. I know it looks like a gamer chair, and I mean it is, but the reason I got it is for a headrest so that I can, properly bounce my head. So just trying to collect my thoughts here. This thing has been a problem for me for so long that, I mean, I could say I'm numb to it, but unfortunately, it just kind of keeps coming back. I will have weeks where I am doing great, especially on weeks where I'm getting really good sleep, and I'm taking care of myself, being active. If I'm running around more, I like to run just casually for exercise when I can. Those weeks I'm usually fine, but sometimes I'm not, because aside from all of those things, I'm also doing schoolwork on my monitor here, or at a computer lab or at home. And every time that I sit here doing any kind of work on a computer for a long time, like a half hour plus, I get dizzy. And it stinks because I can just try to ignore it for a while, but like as soon as I get off the computer screen, I get dizzy. And it is really frustrating because it means often if I'm having like a busy day and then I get back to my dorm or get back to my house and I'm finally like, okay, now I can work on a Danominator video. I can't because I am spinning or unstable to the point where it's like, okay, I just gotta lay down. And you can probably imagine that like as a student, I already have a lot to do. So like that's kind of normal. A lot of people who start YouTube when they're still in college, they kind of have to drop off for just a little bit or make less things until they graduate, and then they get more time to work on stuff like this in between just like a 9-to-5 job. And I'd like to get there eventually. I think it'll also help when I have a kind of routine, and eventually I'll be able to control how much I'm moving around and doing things. As sad as this is, I won't have to fly much for a long time, I don't think, because I don't have any reason to be going down there anymore to visit my grandfather. That's a whole other thing. I'm doing okay regarding that. It's just a very strange thing. But that means planes and boats I don't have to go on for a long time, which is good because planes and boats do not get along with me. They cause my worst type of vertigo. It's basically that up and down type of feeling. Imagine that you're on a boat, right? And you get off after like a half hour and you still feel like you're on a boat. That is not easy to work with. I mean, I get a lot of side to side movement, which I mean, that's kind of how it feels to be in a car. So if I'm just sitting here in the back of this chair, I might feel like I am moving around or like my head is heavy, so I'm kind of tilting back and forth. But planes and boats, the way that they float all over the place, and especially elevators, I can't do elevators. I haven't been able to since I was like 15. I realized why they were making me feel so weird, and I just had to stop using them. I take stairs everywhere. And I mean, that's an annoying thing in itself, but I can live with that. Unfortunately, right now as it is, I have vertigo all the time. Guess why that is? I'm in my senior year of college, guys. It feels good to be there. I can't believe it's finally happening after a year of no classes, a year of I did a gap year after high school, and then of course you know the thing happened that we can't speak about on YouTube because God forbid we bring up the illness that affected the whole world. So it's been a long process for me to get here. I mean, like I said, guys, I'm in my mid-20s and I'm just now finishing college. That's not that out of the ordinary, but it definitely would have happened a little faster if I'd had some more initiative. And I'm okay with how things are. I'm not like in danger of being kicked out of my house or anything. I have a very good family who have been taking care of me and who have also been accommodating for me with this very strange thing that I have. I know a few other people who have vertigo. And the reason I call it that is because it's just easier to say than something like MDDS, which is very specific. When you say dizziness or vertigo, some people at least kind of get it, what that means. But anyway, I'm really trying to work on videos. And every time that I sit down at a computer to try to work on something, like video stuff, I mean, even my own assignments, a lot of my work is online, so Microsoft Word or just hopping back into Premiere to do schoolwork. I find myself having to take constant breaks and stuff like that. Even making music, it's the same thing. I just got myself a somewhat new MacBook doing some trading around and stuff. It's like from 2015, but it's a lot better, so I can make better music. I haven't been able to touch it that much, and it's really frustrating because I know that there is a purpose in all of this, and I just want to know what it is already, and I don't, and I just kind of have to be okay with that. And that for me, just my personality is very difficult to not know why I'm dealing with this, because over time I've been able to understand pretty much everything that has ever happened to me. You know, we are all people with our own stuff going on. Even if it looks like our lives are perfect, everybody's kind of a mess, you know, just a little bit. We all have our own mess, and this just happens to be mine. I don't want anybody to think that this is like a cry for help or a plea. I'm not starting a Patreon or anything. Apparently, from what I've heard recently, it might not even be a good idea to have a Patreon. Get like a Ko-fi or something, coffee, Kofi, one of those things. I think I set up an account for that like a while ago for me to just look at, and I never touched it. I don't feel that currently I could even justify having that, especially not after making this, because that would feel very, very scummy. As in, like, oh, look at poor Dan. He's got the dizzies. Let's go throw some money at him so that he can feel better. That isn't going to change anything. And I don't think the quality of my own content and the amount of people that I have watching my stuff, I don't see that. It doesn't feel right to try to start something like that. So where to go from here, I don't know. The Chibi Robo Retrospective, episode 2. Or 3, excuse me, chapter 3. The one about Park Patrol. I haven't recorded any footage yet. It sucks. It sucks for me to even have to talk about it, because I want this stuff to be good. I'm not going to rush it out, guys. There's no point in me making any of this if it's just going to be super rushed and have no passion behind it, just because, like, when I get a good week, oh, quick, gotta make the Chibi Robo video. No, this project especially means pretty much everything to me right now, because it's everything that people expect from me on YouTube. It's the videos that have gotten the most attention, and I can tell that people care about, and that makes me super happy. To spread the happiness, Chibi Robo. It's kind of funny. But in order for me to do that, I really have to start like gauging my time to just work on it a little bit at a time. And unfortunately, my headspace, I'm not good at doing that. Just, like taking 20 minutes to do like a tiny bit of a video. I like to have a workflow where I can work on something a couple hours at a time. And every time I do that, I get dizzy. So it doesn't also help that I have not especially been sleeping well. College, first couple weeks, being here back in the storm, kind of does things to me, I guess, just like with how I'm feeling. And I tend to be a little lower on sleep, and I tend to be a little high stress. So like, I don't know if right now is a good time to work on the video. I have a couple projects, just random things to share with you guys that are close to done, and I just haven't exported or finished. And I can get a couple of those things out, but like, I don't know how the rest of this year is going to be. I feel like this has been the weakest year in terms of stuff that I've made in a long time. I mean, a 6-minute Eclipse was done last year, and then I made the slightly better version for this year. So I don't know if that even counts. I'm glad you guys checked that out, though. I was really proud of this. This was a fun project to work on. One of the first short films I've made that I think I'm especially proud of. Being a creator means that you're constantly trying to improve. You're looking at your own work and improving. And I feel like when I started YouTube, I'm like, okay, I've seen all of these people ahead of me who have so much more experience, and they started out talking about one thing or another, and they came back to look on their content one day, and they're like, oh man, my old stuff was terrible. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be perfect. I'm gonna hit the ground running. And then Danominator floundered for about 3 years before I did anything good with it. So apparently that is just how it is being a creator. You start out just trying stuff until you find what sticks, and you get better. I think I'm getting better. It's just I have this thing that makes it so hard for me to make things consistently. And I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is I can keep improving, and things are going to get out when they're going to get out. And I need to stop having all of these ideas for things that I start and don't finish, or I take a long time to finish, because I do this a lot. You guys have no idea how many ideas I get for stuff, and I have to go, okay, make some notes, put it away for later. Because if I was able to be at this computer all day, making things all day, I probably would. It's where I feel I can be my most creative, is making videos. So until I get in a better position, until I finish college and I'm able to get to a place where, I have my own life and I can control a lot of things about it, I don't see myself making content consistently on this channel. I still will make things. It's just going to be whenever I can. And I don't know when that's going to be. So I would like to have at least one more episode of the retrospective out by the end of this year. I don't know when it's going to be, but I have a couple things that I'm working on right now to get it started. And this is another thing. My laptop, the one that I've been making videos on since the beginning, is currently dying. It's not like dead. It's probably got another year or two, but I can feel it. It's floundering. Windows updates are really starting to get to it. when I graduate, I'm going to have to get an actual, like a big boy PC. I've been working off a laptop for years now, and it's just how things have been in with my family for a while. Once our old PC died, we pretty much just chucked the thing because like it was really bad. And this laptop, this Dell I've got, has really kept me going for a long time. But it's getting to the point where if I want my videos to get better and more creative, I need to get something that'll, be able to actually handle it. And that means it would be able to handle recording gameplay better, stuff like that. So until then, I have to keep doing what I've always done and work with what I've got. And I just ask that you guys would be understanding of why all this is happening. The only reason that I am still making stuff on this channel is because you guys have been here the whole way. I know that it's not always the same people, but those of you who've chosen to stick around for whatever I end up making at any given time, you mean the world to me, okay? I hope you know that. And I get it that this is not the first time that I've made a video explaining what is up with me. I feel like I have to do it a lot, but it's something at the start I said I do it for myself, and I do, because at the end of the day I want to be a good creator, but I cannot rush things just whenever I'm feeling good. I have to make sure that I go through the time of getting my own process figured out. I'm trying to get better at scripting, writing things well, more creative camera angles. People have told me that I have a lot of creative shots, and would you believe a lot of my stuff is self-taught? I started with an iMovie project, just like one of those random trailers, like on an iPad 2 back when iMovie was still fun. It had like little creative trailers and automated stuff you could make. That was what got me into video editing in the first place. And since then, it's just been my favorite thing. Whenever I get the chance to work on it, it means so much to me. So just the fact that there are people here who think that the things I make are worth watching, that means the world. It really does. I can only say it so many times, but for a guy who can barely sit down for more than 3 hours, or even 1 hour some days, to work on a video and have people actively telling him, your video got me into Chibi Robo, or your video reminded me of how good this soundtrack is. Stuff like that that's what keeps me going. And again, this is not a cry for help. Unless somebody out there who is watching this, has other experiences with something like vertigo or dizziness or even mal de débarquement, if you want to reach out, the comments are always open. You're free to talk to me about it. Maybe you've got some ideas for how I can better help myself, aside from exercises and just general health, taking care of myself, getting proper sleep, staying hydrated, all the things that I already do. And Vector's getting a little noisy, so I better wrap this up. If you guys have anything you want to like talk to me about regarding this, or you have any questions about like what I actually have, just reach out in the comments. That's okay. But please understand that like I'm not going anywhere. I'm proud of what I've made this channel, and I think I'm on the right track. I just got to keep working on it. And it's going to be a slow process for a while, but I think eventually going to be able to get to the point where I can make things consistently for you guys, and I'll be able to have a better workflow for myself, where I'm also doing the things I need to do to keep my vertigo down. And until then, just know I'm here, and I'm taking care of me. And unfortunately, that means a lot of time away from the thing I love doing the most, but I think it'll be worth it in the end. So thank you all for for anyone who decided to actually listen through this whole ramble. I didn't even have any notes for this, but I wanted to make something that felt a little more like professional for everybody who was back there supporting me when I was going through a really rough patch earlier this year. And this video is mostly for you guys, but I think it's also worth showing to anybody else who has wondered why this channel takes so long to upload anything. And I mean, aside from all of the things that I deal with, like, I'll be honest with you, I've got this vertigo, I've got ADHD, high functioning autism. I got a lot of stuff, a lot of things that people don't know I have unless I tell them specifically, which makes it hard because then you're trying to explain it to people. But in that regards, I'm really blessed how far I've come and the resources that I have to make the videos that I like, the things that I'm proud of, the things that, you know, I'm not being paid to make. It just feels good to get stuff out here. I'm in a really good position, all things considered. I mean, I am very lucky to even have the followers that I do and to found a place and an outlet for things that I'm passionate about. YouTube is not an easy platform to make videos on with the copyright and all that stuff. I wanna say again, just thank you to everybody who has been here since, I know some of you guys have been here since 2018. We're coming up on almost 5 years of this channel existing. That's nuts. But it does mean a lot. So to anybody who actually listened to this whole thing, thank you. And I don't need financial support. Maybe one day if I'm making content consistently enough, I'll start something up. But right now, I'm not at that point yet. I want to get to the point where I'm more consistent first. So in the meantime, thank you for all your support. Just watching means a lot more than you probably realize. But I will see you guys eventually, whenever I get the next thing out. A couple of random projects that I'm hoping to have up for you guys soon. But hopefully you understand if I need to take a break again and I kind of don't have anything out for a few weeks or so. Thank you for all your support, and I will catch you guys later. Thank you for everything, for your comments, your attention, your support, everything. This is what I want to do with my life, I think. Outside of, you know, having some kind of job aside from all this, Danominator is what I'm most proud of. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to keep sharing that with you guys. See you all later, whenever that is.